Here's the number one secret to manifesting miracles in your life. It's discovering the science of miracles and remembering the frequency of love. And today we have Dr. Sharnael, and she'll be talking to you about how you too can manifest miracles in your life and how to do that. And what's so special about Dr. Sharnael Wolverton-Sehon is that she's a captivating multidisciplinary expert who seamlessly blends naturopathic medicine, spirituality, and quantum science to empower individuals on their journey to wholeness. And as the founder of True TV and author of 5 groundbreaking books, including her international best-selling book, The Science of Miracles, Remembering the Frequency of Love. So the first question I have is, what is the secret to your success? And does it have anything to do with knowing how to manifest miracles in your life?
Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu. Mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services.
What a great question. And I just love your vibe and your makeup and so pretty. And I just love this whole thing, Lily. I'm so happy and honored to be with you today. For me, success is kind of a combination of a lot of things, to be honest. Mindset is really, really important. And I think a lot of times, especially in the Western world, we kind of segment our lives to work and spirit and diet and everything seems so separated when really I have a saying and I say you cannot pee in the pool and hope it doesn't get everywhere. There is no smoking section. So if you have a relationship or a partnership issue, that's actually going to show up in your business as well. That's going to show up in your health as well. So everything is very integrated. And I know at least in the States here, even so as a medical person, I'm a naturopath, medical places in the States, they teach if there's an organ that has an issue, we deal with that issue only and kind of go for it. And the body is just like life in general. Really it's the whole that we have to work with. And so for me, diet and being healthy is part of being success, because you can have all the money in the world, but if you are not feeling well and you are doing, terrible things to your body to damage and destroy it, you're not going to have the success to make money and be around to even spend the money or invest it or work with, send it to your kids or whatever. If you do have the money, but you have a terrible mindset, we know by statistics, people who win the lottery and don't have the mindset to sustain that, they blow it all and they lose it. And so, there's so many different aspects of what success is. And, but it looks like some of the stuff that you're into and some of the people that you work with, you look very integrated and you kind of maybe have the same outlook I do as far as everything goes together, And so, I had some programming in my upbringing that I had to kind of look at and shift up a bit. And I'll give you an example. My parents, when something bad would go wrong, especially my mom, who I love so much, she'd say, well, there's always something, and she didn't mean it there's always something great around the corner. She meant if something bad's going to happen, it's going to happen kind of deal, which cancel clear. That's the way I was raised, and I had grown into that. And one day I was thinking about that, and I was like, that is such an awful program to have, mentally, which changes your biofield, which your biofield not only radiates, but it also magnetizes back in. So if you're radiating that something bad's going to happen all the time, you collect bad things that happen to you, cancel clear. So I was thinking, well, what would be an upgrade to that mental program? And I was flipping through the channels and I saw Dr. Phil on a commercial, and he said something like, the best way to predict the future is to look at the past. And I thought, well, maybe that's it, but then I thought, what if you have a really crappy past, then that's not a good future, right? So I was like, no, not liking that either. So I literally just went inward and I said, God, source, whatever. I said, what would be the right program? And literally within minutes, I was on Facebook and this thing comes through, how like signs come, and it was a meme from our 16th president, American president, Abraham Lincoln. And it said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I was like, whoa, I like that one, because that's limitless. If we can script our future or our present or, anything involved with our lives, then why not? And so to reverse something, whether it's health or mental or physical or a new job or whatever, that reversing verse is sound, it's frequency. And sometimes with words, programs, and your mindset, all of that is frequency. And so if we can re-script or reverse and find a new path, then we are going to radiate those positive things, and then we're going to magnetize opportunities, people who want to partner with us, people who have integrity, people who are successful. And statistically, they say, this is really interesting. I just read this morning. They did a study with 58,000 workers in 11 companies to see if people were with other people who were really successful or not successful, if it would change the workload and how they performed. And it was interesting. If someone sat within 25 feet of someone who was successful, they did a 50% higher output in their work. But if 50 feet. But if they sat 25 feet next to someone who was less than productive, they had a 30% decrease. So just by hanging around people who are higher frequency, more successful, doing all the things, fitness, healthness, mindsets, being aware, being awake, being conscious, you will automatically go up. Just like if you buy a house in a subdivision that may be only $500,000, but there's $10 million homes all around it, your equity in that house automatically goes up just by being in the middle of that subdivision. So it's a long answer and it didn't come overnight, but does that answer your question a little bit? How do you think about it? I'm curious about your thoughts.
So I've found recently that the more I focus on self-love, the more I focus on optimizing myself as a person, the more I tend to attract positive people, positive opportunities. And of course, that goes in hand with doing good, doing your best, and doing your best to kind of help other people, because I believe in the law of karma, how, you help other people at some point, the universe will help you too, not necessarily the same people. Okay. So, and the opposite is true as well. What I've noticed is that in the past, I used to really struggle with self-love. And I actually thought when people were saying they are self-love coaches, I had no idea what that meant. And you can say I had some, I really didn't, you can say, even value those people who were saying, oh, I'm a self-love coach, because I had no idea what that meant. But now, as I have gone on this journey of figuring out, okay, over the past few years, I had a certain number of clients that didn't appreciate me, that didn't pay me, that, told me my work isn't worth anything. And then I had others who were working at the highest possible level, and they were like multimillionaires, or they were influencers or celebrities or whatever they were. And they appreciated me at the highest possible level. And then I realized, what is happening here? What is my responsibility in this equation? And I noticed a large part of that was actually coming from me, because I didn't love myself enough. And because of that, I was reflecting that to the world, this almost like a roller coaster of, okay, I love myself, I don't love myself. And because of that, there were those people that were reflecting back to me and kind of reflecting exactly what I thought about myself. And then I started going on this journey of, affirming, I am amazing. I am unique. I'm a superstar. I'm a celebrity. I'm impacting millions of people. And as I'm affirming these positive things that are gradually reprogramming my mind, I'm noticing I'm surrounded by love. I'm surrounded by appreciative people. So I do massively believe in the power of love in order to attract more love into your life, more abundance, more of what you want as well. Now, I wonder about the science of miracles, because I think there are so many people still around me that do not believe in miracles and also don't really realize the impact of negative thinking and don't realize the impact of claiming and of saying stuff that they are actually co-creating every single day. For example, people on the street, they are, I don't know, they are like this, or they are dirty, or, people in London don't do this, or, the minute you kind of start to create something negative around your reality, how this kind of starts to kind of appear in your life, and then you're surprised, why is it there? Well, you created it. So I wonder about, okay, so my question is, why do you call it the science of miracles and not, like something else? Where's the science in that?
So I had an encounter with two very large beings that came. I'm trying to find this graph that I was given. This is my book, The Science of Miracles. It has all kinds of stuff in here. Talks about trauma loops, frequency hopping, energetic purgatory. It talks a lot about the biofield and how to create. This is kind of a very terrible picture of what you were talking about. When you mentioned equations, these are all plus signs, minus signs, whatever. And these are our thoughts, our feelings, and what we speak about. I used to work in cardiac rehab for a bit. I did my internship there as a naturopath. Actually, I was in wellness and kinesiology at the time. Went to naturopathic school later. But the surgeons in surgery, they would talk about the spark of the blue flame or the blue light that would come within. They would see it during surgery on the table. And I kind of shelved that. I didn't think too much about it. But like you, later along the line, found out that I wasn't loving myself either, got myself very sick physically and was dealing with some things that aren't so great. And I was able to reverse it. But I kept thinking about like the law of attraction and all these things that seemed very like new age or kind of oogie boogie, kind of like far out there, and I'm very scientific. I'm very logical. When I had this encounter, these 14, 16, I don't know, really tall beings came into my living room. I walked in my living room. They were standing right there. And one looked kind of female. One looked, I guess, male-ish. And I instantly felt every cell in my body vibrating. And I also was shaking physically. And I had a lot more information than I had seconds ago. Like it was just what I would call a download of information. And a lot of different things happened during that time. But one of the things that I got out of this was a few days later in a dream, which I believe was connected to this, had to do with this chart. And that's kind of what you're talking about. And it goes into, again, what we're thinking, what we're speaking, what we're talking about. This is the biggest magnet. It has more magnetic power than our words or our thoughts. It does have some radiation, but it is a lot of magnetism. What we say and what we think has a frequency that radiates and magnetizes, but not as much as this. And so when we think something, feel something, whatever, that projects, it goes out as a radiation, but again, it also magnetizes. And so if we are thinking something positive, but we have a negative feeling about it, those equations, like you said, you can have some positives up here, but some negatives that are coming out here. And just like a math equation, if you have 1 + 1 - 2 - 3 + 1, you can do that all day and still be in the negative. And I call that energetic purgatory, where you're coming in and out, like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And a lot of people, including myself in the past, would see these patterns that come around and around. It would be like different people, but the same thing keeps happening. And it's like the common denominator was me. It wasn't about the people. It was about me and who those people were that I was magnetizing into my life as a gift because of karma, which is a science. And I think that that is God or Source's way of showing you, hey, that's still in here. Can you clear that out or change your mind or rethink or repent? Because the word to change your mind, to repent, is to think again. The penthouse, the master house, to think a different way. And when we think a different way, we a lot of times feel a different way, not always, but when you can get that alignment of what we're thinking, feeling, and talking about, and then again, all of our cells have a radiation, all of our organs have a radiation. So you can even have ancestral programming that your mind has overcome and your heart has overcome. But if your cells are projecting negative equations, you're still having that miss. So clearing all of those things, what goes out in this co-creating thing is you have your past, your future, and your present. You send out a wave. It comes back as an echo wave, they call it. And it's to maybe see like how serious you are. What are you going to do with this information? Are you going to change, or are you going to stay where you are, or are you going to double down and make it worse? Keep thinking about it, keep talking about it, call 20 friends and say the same thing. This always happens to me. La, 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 la. I always blah, blah, all of those victim mentality type things. That's just going to secure it and solidify where you're at even more versus getting books that make your mind go somewhere else, watching documentaries, getting a coach, whatever it takes, to be honest, changing your diet, going to get exercising, exercise in your life, finding some little goals that you achieve to build your confidence so you start feeling more secure in your choices, and then you feel successful, and that radiates, and then you build and build and build, and maybe not go after, I need $20 million by tomorrow, but like even starting with little things to create and practice, because we're going to create either way. We're going to create something really beautiful on purpose as an architect with amazing energy, or we're going to automatically default by the programming that we were born with and by the environment that we came up with. And that's why a lot of people who are born in a certain financial level usually stay kind of in that system unless they do some major work, because that's what they're taught. That's where they think they can stay, and that's what they know. And unless you know something different, my thing is we don't know what we don't know. And I like to stay really open. I don't enjoy being unsuccessful. I don't enjoy being 500 pounds. I don't enjoy not having friends. I don't enjoy having bad things happen. I don't enjoy having cancer, all of those things. And so I reversed cancer. I shifted out of a terrible 3-person in a bad abusive relationship and finally found like the man of my dreams, or attracted him. And, and different things, whatever it is. I've written 5 books and have multiple businesses now. And, I didn't grow up that way, but anyone can change. Literally every single person watching, you have the choice to change your life right now, today, on a dime, with your thoughts, with your words, conscious language, with how you feel, with being more aware of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're talking about. And then doing the inner work, because every single thing is an inside job. It is not about anyone else. No one can keep you where you are. No one, unless you're like in jail for some consequences or something. You have every right to get out of poverty. I was literally selling my plasma. I was homeless. If it wasn't for my parents, I would have been on the street. But I was selling my plasma for 3 years and getting handouts with 3 kids in my parents' living room because of a divorce situation. Went from that to multiple businesses, writing books, having podcasts, having over 177,000 followers. Like anybody can do any of that when you choose, if you choose.
Thank you. Now, I've been sick for 10 years. And I still haven't recovered. Okay. And I'm still working on it. And I wonder, in terms of using the science of miracles, quantum health, frequency medicine, and all of those things that you're a specialist in, what do entrepreneurs like me that are managing an illness, what can they do in order to manifest not only positivity and opportunities that I have plenty of, but also manifest and make their health, happen in a way that they're able to perform much better, and they're able to optimize their activities as well, to be able to leverage those huge opportunities they're getting all the time?
That's a great question, Lily. Because I was there. I was sick for 6 years in bed and working 120 hours, but really feeling like if I could stay in bed 24 hours a day, I would have. I just felt awful. Always had a fever. I dealt with mold, black mold for a while. It got to the point where I was almost on my deathbed. They told me I had weeks to live. And then also again later with cancer and reversed that. So I'm speaking from experience, and also I work with thousands of people since then across the world, reversing whatever the situation is. And the biggest thing is, first of all, finding out where it started and why, and also getting diagnostics of some kind. I do remote biofeedback. I can look at reports that have to do with hormones, sleep patterns, vitamin deficiency, organ issues, KGs, EMGs, skeletal, if you have Lyme or mold, or if there's a parasite issue, we can look at all that long distance. And then what biofeedback does is it also will calculate customized frequencies for you as a person and or anyone else, because you're going to be different than me or anyone, and send specific frequencies back to you long distance to get the ball rolling where you're starting to feel better. I thought that this was absolutely nuts that someone could do this long distance, until someone did it to me across country, and it literally knocked me out in the middle of the day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on my couch, where I slept for like 8 hours straight. In the day, which I never take naps during the day, I started feeling better instantly. Some people, that 2 times that happened to me, I didn't even know they were doing it until later. They told me they were doing it. They asked me if they could do it. It was an MD that had just got this technology, and I was like, sure, try it on me. And then I forgot about it. And then it was like a month later, and I said, hey, did you do that thing? He's like, oh, I forgot. I'll get to it. I've just been so busy. He had a death in the family. So I wasn't expecting it. And then a few weeks later, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm feeling kind of tired. Like, what's going on? And I was in my living room on the couch in the middle of the day, sleeping, with kids coming in and out, lights on, animals. Well, it was like, how did that happen? Happened twice. The third time I had the absolute opposite situation happen. I had so much energy. I was cleaning my garage. I cleaned out all the drawers, the cabinets, the kitchen. I was like getting rid of 23 bags of garbage and putting, giving things to Goodwill and donating everything. And I was like, where is this energy coming from? So I use different things for biohacking, and I know you're familiar with a lot of it, but like red light therapy, hyperbaric chamber, PEMF, laser therapy, ozone therapy is huge. Biofeedback. Of course, we can look at diet and see if there's something, with your blood type or whatever, different people need different things. And so depending on the situation of what the diagnostics would say would be, it would give me a little more idea of how to work with you specifically, because I don't think there's a cookie cutter way to really help someone, except I will say there are some cookie cutter things. Number one, detox the body. That's a biggie. And number two, strengthen the body with good for you things and things that are kind of increasing frequency. And the other thing is, the last thing is emotions. If we can find out what event happened, or if, sometimes you don't even know, but there could be something either ancestral or, epigenetics is real. We can clear that. Or it could be something that's happened. And 86% of all physical issues are actually what they call a conversion disorder, which means your body will start to take on physical symptoms because of emotions. So if we can figure out what the emotional event was, or maybe it was something repetitive, or something with an authority figure, or someone spoke something over you or did something to you, or some abuse, or something sudden like a tragic death or a car accident. There's so many different things that your body will take that information, and this is the frontal lobe. Behind that is your limbic system. That is the seat of emotions. And that will defrag things that you don't need between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. It'll just be like, she doesn't need that. We're going to let that go. Whether it's, what the lady was wearing at the grocery store when you checked out and what radio station was playing in the background. You don't need that information. We're bombarded with a lot of stimuli all the time, and our body's recording it constantly, but we don't need that. So from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., that stuff goes away unless it was something tragic, something authoritative, like a coach or a pastor or a parent, or somebody said something mean to you and you just couldn't shake it. It didn't leave, or it happened over and over, an abusive situation, or those things we talked about. Those have a little more stick, and sometimes they don't defrag. And what the limbic system is, that library, it'll say, you know what? Lily can't really deal with this right now. She's too stressed out and all this stuff. So we're going to just put this in the thyroid for right now, or wherever, somewhere. It's going to sit dormant for a minute. A minute could look like an actual minute, or it could be weeks or decades. But when you run into something similar, it's going to start giving you signals that there's something going on here. And usually if you go to the doctor, they're going to be like, let's give you pain medicine to make that turn off, or let's just remove the organ, or whatever the situation. But that usually won't help because you're not dealing with the root issue. But if we can deal with the root issue and clear that, I started doing that. I had 28 markers of traumatic events lodged in my body, and I got it down to 4 in 16 weeks with just doing some of the things I said. And I got off 33 meds, and I dropped 80 pounds in 16 weeks without even changing my diet. So I know that this can be done, and I've done the same thing with cancer and a lot of other things. It's like, we got to find the root, and we got to start clearing and detoxing the body, because your body is meant to heal on its own. Like, it will, if there's no interference, and if you're feeding it the right things to make it strengthen. We are born to heal. We are great machines. You are a great machine, and I can work with you, and we can see what we can do. Or if there's anyone out there, I'd love to help.
Thank you. What are the top things for entrepreneurs to make miracles happen in their lives?
Oh gosh. Again, mindset. I think it's important that every day you're doing a little bit of studying, a little bit of programming. I call it positive brainwashing, because brainwashing can be bad and it can be good. But when we wash our brain of all the programming mess that isn't necessary and isn't good for us, there is so much in the media, in the news, in the newspapers, maybe people around you, like that. If we can clear that and like replace it with something more positive that we can focus on, what you focus on, you make room for. So mindset and studying and giving yourself time to either meditate or do something like that, to get that mindset is really important. Diet, of course, is really important. What you eat, what you drink, whatever you do, it says do all for the glory of God. I'm not a religious person, but when I looked up that word glory, it actually meant to manifest God. And I believe that God is in us, that we are gods, that we are meant to do extraordinary things. And so when we eat and drink and whatever we do all for the manifestation of God. I mean, that's going back to your creation topic. We can create whatever if we have the machinery to do it. If we're dead on the side of the road, we're probably not going to be making money or being super successful, whatever that looks like to you. So those are big things. Number 3, pay attention to who you're hanging out with. Really important. Invest in the 5 people that you hang out with the most, and make sure you're investing your time properly with 5 really great people who are going to bring you up and hold you to that level of accountability and integrity and love. What else? Exercise is really important. It's good for chi. It's good for circulation, for lymphatics. It's also good for just, honestly, the little baby success of like checking things off the list and being like, I did my walk today. I did the treadmill or whatever. Like, mentally, people feel better when they do things like that. And they go, oh, it's a little thing, but it's a big thing. Another thing is organization is really important. when we fix our bed, when we have a clean desk, when those kind of things are like little goals too. But when we're cluttered and things are everywhere and things are in disarray, we tend to be cluttered on our decision making, on our thought process, on, you can be kind of in that energetic purgatory because it's so like clogged up that we don't really know what the best deal is to do or who to partner with or where to put our money or to invest or if we should write this new book or try out this new thing. So, I mean, those things are super. You know what? I'm going to add one more thing that's important that I suck at and I'm doing better, but balance. Because I tend to overwork. I bet you do too. And especially as someone in the service industry, healing, helping our moms, we tend to give and give and give, and then we don't give back. So taking time to rest, I have to literally schedule play. Like literally, I'm going to do nothing today. And this is on my calendar. I put a big X. That was one of the reasons why I got really sick, is really out of balance. Have you had any problems with that, with balance?
Well, yeah, no, but I will. No, I'll tell you why. Because it's like I love ideas and I love implementing ideas. So when I'm implementing ideas, then I'm having so much fun. And it's only when let's say I have a big event that I feel, you can say, overwhelmed, just because I really want everyone to have a good time and I want everyone to get what they came for and a lot more. So the stress of that really, puts a lot of pressure on me, but I still don't feel imbalanced. I mean, yes, I feel like, oh, I haven't slept or I'm tired or whatever, but I don't feel like I'm ever looking for balance. What I'm looking for is having fun and having, loving people in my life. And I think when you're having fun, you're really living. And that's I almost feel like I was born to have fun, like literally.
Yes.
my thing. And I think it's important for everyone to have fun, because when you have fun, I feel that you become a better manifester of everything you want. Because when you are having fun, you are yourself, you are authentic. And that's when the people that kind of connect with that kind of fun. And now my kind of fun doesn't have to be your kind of fun. So for example, I like sarcastic humor, but maybe you like to spend time reviewing sneakers, and you don't have to even be fun, my kind of fun. You can be, like just reviewing it in a very serious thing, and that is your fun. And I think it's important to also acknowledge that everyone has their way of being fun. And, it's all about being comprehensive about, you don't have to be like everyone. Everyone has their fun. And as long as they're kind of making happen in the world what their definition of fun is, I feel that that's a really good way to kind of manifest. Now, one thing that I've come to kind of understand is that first, when you curate your language, the way you were kind of mentioning earlier, when you catch yourself and you say something that is either negative or that is kind of creating a reality that you don't desire. For example, I don't know, Pedro doesn't like me, or men don't like me, or men don't do this for me, or I don't know, anything that you catch yourself saying something that is negative, that is kind of creating a potential future you dislike. It's all about kind of reframing that into something that you would prefer. And I think that has worked quite a lot for me. Like, I can't say that I still don't think these kind of negative things sometimes, and then I catch myself and kind of try to reframe it into something else that I would prefer. The other thing that I think has worked quite a lot is also, when you look in the mirror and then you look at yourself, and I never used to like looking at myself in the mirror because I would just see, I don't know, the wrinkles, or I'm chubby, or I don't know, something. But now I'm looking at myself and I'm seeing, wow, I'm a goddess. People would love to see me like this. Oh my God, I'm absolutely amazing. And I'm not saying in an arrogant way, but I do think it's important to appreciate yourself, because when you do, you kind of attract more of that. And I have noticed a difference in terms of how I am perceived online, where before I used to really you can say, struggle to have reach when I started. But I was also because I disliked myself. I really did. And as I started on this journey of liking myself more and appreciating myself in the mirror more, I do think that helped. Another funny thing that I did was that I have this vision board, and it was just like a piece of paper that I printed out on an A3 paper. What was funny was that I sent that to the printer to print, and on it, it had my face on the cover of Forbes. And of course, it was a fake one. I mean, it was like a vision board. And my printer, of course, didn't know that. And he actually looked me up in Forbes, and he said, "Oh my God, I didn't find you in Forbes." And I said, "It's a vision board. Don't worry, I am not really in Forbes yet." But what was funny about that was that a few months later, I actually was featured on the cover of a magazine, which wasn't Forbes, but it was still like, you can say, on my way to kind of making that happen. So making these kind of like small changes in your life, I do find that they work a lot. So I wonder about, what was your number one thing that you find shifted your energy so much that it made almost like that domino piece, it made the biggest difference in terms of everything else, and then everything else started to kind of fall into place? Was it that you fixed your health? And if yes, with what? Was it that you perceived your mindset in a different way? Was it you made a mindset shift, or was it that you met a particular person? What was that one thing that changed everything in your life?
Yeah, that encounter that I had was probably the biggest shift. And right from that, I met a man named Robert Stevens, who's now passed, who really got me into understanding conscious language. And the thing about when I first met him and was really getting into like understanding how words create and actually seeing the science behind it, I also looked at his book, Conscious Language, but there's another book called The Poetry of God, which has all this science about people's names and what names mean and how this name is spoken over you, and then you have that personality, and then maybe you change your name or you get married, and how people change their personality because what's spoken over you, again, words are so important. And the thing about words is, if you are being conscious of your words, that means you automatically have to think about what you're going to say. Well, you don't have to, but it's better, because some people don't think and they just say. But if you're trying or choosing to be conscious in your language, you believe me, the first week when I met Robert, after going through what I did with him, I was like, I'm not saying anything. I was just, my friend and I, we went and we were like 4 days, like what can I say that is positive? Because I realized how much I thought was negative and it was about to come out. And so you'll hear me when I talk, I think I did it a couple times here, where I'll say something and I was like, cancel, clear, because I don't want, I choose for that energy to be different. And so that was probably my biggest, is that encounter, and that led to multiple things, because honestly, I think that encounter gave like a tune-up to my overall frequency, which changed my field, which changed a lot of people that came to me, differently. I started meeting different people who do naturopathic work or energy work, and had multiple mentors. Bob Proctor came into my life. Gary Young came into my life. Dr. David Stewart came. Like, there was like this whole shift of people that suddenly appeared and brought such many gifts to help me integrate a lot of different things and see things differently and have that perspective. So yeah, what was your catalyst?
Well, too many to say here, but please tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
Yeah, I am at drsharnael.com. It's DRSHARNAEL.com. All my social medias are there. My podcast is there. I have a show every Thursday at noon. We have a lot of fun people there that talk about the paranormal and mindsets and success and health and UFOs and weird stuff and NDEs and, all the extraordinary fun things in life. I have books out. They're on my website. Here's a few of them. I actually have a crystal card deck online too, where I talk about crystals and frequency and fun things having to do with that. I have a lot of classes online that people can take. And then I have my biofeedback. And I actually have a practice here where I live. And so I can see people in person. I know you're far away, but for anybody who's in the States in my area, then you can come see me in real life, or what we do phone consultations too. So I have 15,000 people all over the world that contact me regular and have patients all over. So
follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.